So, folks, if I were to make a Mount Rushmore of my most hated politicians of all time, it would absolutely have to include Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell out of Kentucky has pretty much been in office my entire life. I think he came in like 82 or 84. So I was born in 80. He's been there my entire life. And now he is at the end of his career, about to ride off into the sunset. And it always sickens me whenever Mitch decides to suddenly have a moment where he wants to point out the obvious. And we're like, dude, it's too little, too late. But I want to cover this story because it's just vintage Mitch. It truly is. This is the type of person that Mitch McConnell is after he blocked two Supreme Court justices, and that will always be his legacy. And after he didn't impeach Donald Trump when he had the chance to, he now is saying that this is the most dangerous period since before World War II. Yeah, Mitch, thanks for pointing out the obvious right at the end of your career. We will never forget what you have done here, so you can try to smooth this over on your way out, but I'm going to always be here reminding people of the scumbag politician that you truly were. So we're going to read this article here from The Hill. McConnell says there's certain similarities right now to the 1930s. Senator Mitch McConnell from Kentucky compared the modern-day political landscape to pre-World War II era in the United States, pointing specifically to tariffs and foreign policy. In an interview published Wednesday with the Lexington Herald Reader out of Kentucky, McConnell reflected on his storied career in the Senate as the Republican leader and said he decided to use these 2 years before he leaves public service to focus on what I thought might be the most important thing that I might have impact on, and that's defense and foreign policy. So yeah, right before you leave office, you're gonna try to make some sense here, and you're gonna think that we're just gonna forget and forgive everything that you did. It's not gonna happen anytime soon. But he said, I think this is the most dangerous period since before World War II. McConnell said in the interview, which was conducted on Friday. There are certain similarities right now to the 1930s, he continued, which he said is widely believed by historians and economists to have taken the Depression worldwide. Donald Trump has similarly issued sweeping tariffs on many U.S. allies and close trading partners. He has done so in an effort to strike what he views as better deals to offset trade imbalances. Members of his administration have also touted the revenue by the tariffs which American consumers of foreign products pay. McConnell also noted similarities between those who oppose U.S. intervention globally today and those who held similar views before America was drawn into World War II. And he also expressed concern that the U.S. isn't sufficiently prepared, sorry I can't talk today, for what appears to be a growing alliance between some countries that are antagonistic towards the United States. On the same day the interview was published, the Chinese president, North Korean leader, and Russian President Vladimir Putin appeared in public together for the first time as President Xi hosted the others as guests for a military parade in Beijing. And when I heard about that, I'm honestly surprised they didn't invite Trump. And you know good and well if they had invited Trump, he would have went. You know he would have. And they always wanted to criticize Obama for wearing a tan suit or wanting Dijon mustard. And they would say that Obama was palling around with terrorists. But Donald Trump would have absolutely palled around and has palled around with dictators. And they completely look over that. But here's Mitch McConnell. Again, he says, those who were totally anxious to stay out of all of what is going on in Europe were called America First. Sound familiar? So what do we have today? North Korea, China, Russia, Iran, and Iran proxies. They're very different kinds of countries, but they have one thing in common. They hate us, McConnell said. So when you talk about preparedness, we're not prepared like we should be. McConnell also warned against failure in Ukraine as the U.S. president seeks to broker a peace deal to end the war with Russia. McConnell says, with regard to Ukraine, what we need to do is avoid the headline at the end of the war that says Russia wins, America loses. It has huge worldwide implications. And for those who are concerned about the money, I think it's important to remember that about half of the money was spent in this country, including in Kentucky, with 38 states modernizing our own industrial bases. We've sent older weapons to Ukraine, he continued. McConnell is the longest serving senator in U.S. history, or in history. Announced last year that he would step away from his leadership role and would not run for re-election in 2026, retiring from the upper chamber after serving 7 terms. And yeah, those 7 terms was pretty much all of my life. And so now he wants to come in at the end and point out the obvious, and he wants brownie points? No, you don't get that, because what you were was a politician who went to bat for the Republican Party, stood up there after January 6th and said out loud that Trump was morally responsible for what happened on January 6th. But when he had the opportunity to impeach him and save us from all of this mess, he didn't do it. His legacy will always be that he stood in the way and he blocked those Supreme Court justices. And his legacy will always be that he helped once again usher in Donald J. Trump. That's on Mitch McConnell, and it always will be. And he is just one of the most slimy politicians, because he will come out there and when it really matters, when it's really nut cutting time, you're like, okay, Mitch, we need you now. He will completely abandon all principles to side with the Republican Party. It would not have mattered what happened on January 6th. Yeah, he'll call it out. He'll say it was bad. He'll say that Trump's responsible. But then when it comes down to do we win or do we lose, he's always going to go for the win, and he's always going to put the Republican Party ahead of anything. And I really do believe, and I can't speak for Mitch McConnell, never met the guy, don't care if I ever do, but he is a person who I do believe, this is my personal opinion, that he probably despises Trump deep down. Because Donald Trump was able to hijack the Republican Party away from Mitch McConnell and actually flip the script and call McConnell a rhino. And that's absolutely hilarious to me. And anytime that someone refers to Mitch McConnell as a rhino, which stands for Republican in name only, I immediately know that that person knows absolutely nothing about American politics. And I laugh out loud because Mitch McConnell is the final dragon. If there was a Mario game of Mario trying to take down Republicans, Mitch McConnell is the final dragon. He's the final boss, okay? He is as Republican as you can possibly get. And Donald Trump was able to hijack the Republican Party completely away from him, call him a rhino, and now send him off into retirement in disgrace. So don't come out now and say, oh, we're living in the most dangerous time. We're living in the most dangerous time since the 1930s. Don't say that now. Don't say that now. You had your chance to stop us from entering into 1930s Germany, and you put your own personal interest and your own party above the American people. So people like me will always be here calling that out, because we grew up. I grew up in Kentucky. I know what it's like to live in Kentucky. I know what Mitch McConnell's all about. And I can tell you this, I always say it whenever I'm talking about Mitch McConnell, because I do want people that's not from this part of the world to understand. In all of my travels as a musician, traveling every back road in southeast Kentucky and playing every dive bar, and I'd be sitting on the bar at some point, it'd be around election time, politics would come up. In all my travels, I never one time heard anyone say, boy, I love Mitch McConnell. Boy, Mitch is our guy. I never seen Mitch flags flying off boats. I never seen Mitch. You might see a little smile sign in somebody's yard once in a blue moon. And if you came to like a little courthouse somewhere, there might be a sign out front for McConnell. But you didn't see people bragging about that dude, and most of them would admit that he was a crook. I can't count the conversations I've had with people in Kentucky that will say, oh yeah, I know McConnell's a crook. And they follow it with, but at least he's not a Democrat. Because that's how they've been preconditioned to believe. They believe if anyone's a Democrat, they're automatically of the devil. And so they believe the D stands for devil, and they would vote for McConnell if he ran again. They would absolutely be right there to vote for him, and it wouldn't matter how good of a Democrat you put up there, they would vote along with him. But they loved Donald Trump way more than they ever loved him. They saw through him for the crook that he was, and sat back and wondered for years why they couldn't get ahead in this world. It's been really frustrating to have those conversations with people, because it always comes back to, well, if you know he's a con artist, why do you vote for him? Well, at least he ain't a Democrat. Oh, what's the Democrat wanting to do? They want to give you health care? They want to give you a living wage? They want your daughter to have a right to her own medical decisions? That's it. They want to keep the military off the streets. They want people to be able to just live their life, and yeah. What's so evil about that? I always get they'll always tell you though. What's funny? They'll always tell you when you say to them, "So what's so evil about healthcare? What's so bad about universal healthcare? We're one of the only countries in the world that don't have it. Why can't we have it?" Well, that's socialism. That'd lead us to a dictator. Well, Donald Trump just said he'd be willing to be dictator on day one. Yeah, I know, it's okay. So yeah, that's the type of people we're up against. And I say that all the time because I want people to always know what it is that we're up against. As I close out this video, I do want to say I've been doing some traveling. Went out to San Francisco, the Bay Area. It was really cool out there because you can be in one part of town and it'll be 80 degrees, and go over to the next part of town and it'll be 59 degrees. So I went through all of that and I made it back here to Tennessee. And then we had a bunch of thunderstorms, and the Tennessee humidity's really kicking my ass again. And so I'm kind of trying to adjust, I guess, to all of the different climates I've traveled through, and I catch myself clearing my throat constantly. So you may hear that for the next couple of days in my videos as I recover from my travels. But I do want to thank y'all so much for supporting what it is that I do here on the channel. And shout out to all my patrons and my members only. Yes, I am writing over on Substack. I'm going to be getting back in the saddle doing that again. I always enjoy doing that, so you can follow me there. And yes, I am back on Blue Sky. Got locked out of my account for a few days, but I was able to recover it, and I'm back in the saddle there. And so we'll just keep pushing forward. And when it comes to Mitch McConnell, I will always be the first to raise my hand and say, hey, wait a minute, you're not going to get away with that, Mitch. You don't get to come in at the last minute and play the hero and all. And that's something that really frustrates me, is when people suddenly say, Mitch McConnell breaks with Trump, Joe Rogan breaks with Trump. I don't really care. They helped get us here. So, yeah, I'm glad that Mitch McConnell said this, but here's the kicker. If it came down tomorrow to a vote and Mitch McConnell had his finger on the button and could end 1930s Germany from happening, he would sell us out all over again, just like he's done every damn time.